Hello, welcome to today's video. I am really excited because I've got a new microphone, so hopefully the sound quality on this video is going to be far superior to my previous videos, which will only enhance the viewing pleasure for you guys. So today, I've really struggled with a topic, but I have landed on one after listening to the brilliant Chris Ryan podcast, Tangentially Speaking. He does these ranty sort of podcasts. He interviews people and then he does ones on his own. And he was talking about this idea of success. So like how much our definition of success is changing, and we're beginning to realise that what is the template of success that is given to us by kind of capitalist society, Western society, how many people actually really want those things? And is it a matter of you strive and you climb that ladder and you get a certain amount of those things and then you realise that it's actually a load of crap, which is kind of what's happened to me. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about defining your own version of success and how you can do that, and getting down off a ladder. If you're climbing a ladder, like you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, or even in your 20s or older, you know, and you're on this ladder and you suddenly realise you've climbed way up there and you're like, this is not the ladder. This is not the wall I wanted to be on. I need to climb down and move my ladder. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and tools that we can use to help us to realise what it actually is that we want. Not what the advertisers tell us we want, not what the teachers, the parents, all of those outside influences tell us we want. It's about listening to what you want. So let's get into it. Okay, now I would say that the template that was given to me was this idea of, you know, you go to school, you work hard, you keep your head down, you are a good girl, and I know guys get this as well, you know, you've got to be the good guy, you've got to be the A star, the A grader. So you do all of those things and, you know, you get the results, or you get pretty good results. You don't get into trouble, you don't get expelled, you do everything you can to be a nice person, and you go to uni if that's the route that was prescribed for you, like it was for me. You go off to university, you get your degree, you go out into the big scary world, you find a job. You work really hard at that job, and you know, you might attain some levels of monetary success, which would be like, you know, you're able to buy your own house, potentially accumulate some stuff, maybe a designer handbag or whatever you want to get. And in the midst of that, you're also working on your personal life, so you're building a group of friends, you are looking for the one, that person who's going to complete you, and then you find them and you have to work really hard at the relationship, and then you work towards marriage and they ask you to marry you, and then you get married, and then everyone starts asking you, when are you going to have a baby? And it's like this treadmill of just task after task after task, spin plate after spin plate. It can be really tough. And do we ever actually stop? I mean, I never really seriously stopped to ask myself, is this really what I want to do? I think there was one point when I was doing my A-levels and I did stop and ask myself the question, and I was really interested in like aromatherapy and massage, and that was something that I would have quite liked to explore and go on to do. And I remember like we were sat around the table eating dinner with my parents, and I was like, I'd love to be able to do a course in that. Maybe I'd like to be a massage therapist. And they were like, no, you are going to uni. Everyone in this family goes to uni, you are going to uni. So I was like, okay, I'm going to uni. Because I didn't have the guts to actually say, no, I'm not. And don't get me wrong, like there's been many wonderful things that have happened in my life, but the analogy that I like to use is like everyone has got this ladder. We're all walking around with our ladder, and there are like multiple walls around that we can put that ladder on and we can climb up. And you know, it just so happens that most of the time we all end up trying to climb the same wall when we're all so different and we're all so unique. And that's the beautiful thing that's happening now, is that is being celebrated more. And I think that through podcasts and alternative media and YouTubers and all of these amazing things that are now on offer to us, we are realising that we have other options. The tricky part is when you're like me and you're 33 and you realise that your ladder might not be quite on the completely wrong wall, but it's on the wrong section of the wall, let's put it that way. And you're kind of like, oh, I need to change things. And, you know, you've got to do some climbing down and some readjusting. Like, life, to me, is also another analogy that I'll just throw out there. You know, life is like a jungle gym. It is not this like steady incline of just one thing. You know, you can be on the monkey bars and then you've got to jump off the monkey bars and get on the rope swing and then climb the cargo ladder and then do the zip line. And these are all the different phases of life and things that you want to move into. And, you know, not many people spend 30 years now doing the same job. So you may want to change careers, look at a second career or even a third career. So there's a lot of stuff around trying to define what your idea of success is. And, you know, it's tough. Like, the status quo is loud and it is playing on all of our vulnerabilities. So we want to feel included. We don't want to feel like a weirdo. And so we often just fall into line and be like, okay, I will stick with the steady job. I will stick with that group of friends, even though we're not really on the same wavelength. I'll stay living in this area because there's risks involved in me moving and doing something different. So it is challenging to try and change. And like I say, especially if you've climbed quite far up that ladder and you have got the nice house, you might have kids, you might have a lot of responsibilities, you might have got used to those creature comforts, and the thought of changing that can be daunting, you know. And I know a yoga teacher who was a lawyer and obviously earning a very nice income and a successful lifestyle. And, you know, he totally changed his life and became a yoga teacher and went back to university and studied yoga philosophy. So he took a real new path and it paid off, you know. It's worked out for him. He may not have the same level of wealth and status that he had before, but he's much more fulfilled. And that's something that I feel mirrored in my own life. Like, I've had the designer handbags, the nice house, the 5-star holidays, the Range Rover, you know, all of these cliches of what it's like, tick, 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 tick. And, you know, the big wedding. And when it comes down to it, like, those things are that dangling carrot. And if you get to nibble at that carrot, which is like what I've done, I've not, you know, become a star or anything or a multimillionaire, but you realise that it actually doesn't taste that good and that you're quite happy not having the carrot. So that's just a little bit around success and something for you to think about, like, using that analogy. Is your ladder on the right wall? Do you feel that you are doing what you're meant to do? And are you living your own version of success? There will be elements of your ego as well that come into this. Like, the ego will find it very hard to let go of those status symbols and those things that win us approval by a lot of people. And, you know, taking the road less travelled is harder than taking the smooth concrete motorway that most people are on. But as Van Gogh said, you know, no flowers grow there. There's no growth there. It's just static and kind of dull. So if you can be brave and take that road less travelled and work out what it is that you really want, then I think that can lead to much more fulfillment and, you know, actually feeling like you're living your life rather than just existing, which is something that I know I've done a lot of, is just that feeling of existing. So to finish the video, I want to share with you a tool that I use to help me with creating this vision. And I'm going to put it center stage now. It is a vision board. So here is my vision board, and as you can see, it's just a piece of like It's just a piece of cardboard that I got from a craft shop, or you could probably get it from anywhere, just a thin piece of cardboard. As you can see from me, it's quite big, but you could do a smaller one. And it's an opportunity for you to put on there anything that you want and anything that feels like you want to see in your vision for your future. And it can sound a little bit cheesy and like, oh, we're having a sleepover, we're making vision boards, and you're a bit like, cringe. I get that, I understand that, because I'm not a crafty person either. But it was so much fun making this. So literally, I just set 2 hours aside and I didn't plan anything. I had loads of old magazines. I had my laptop with my Pinterest open so I could print a few things off there. And I just went for it and just looked at the blank page and just started sticking stuff on there. And it was pretty amazing how it felt doing it. And then you have this as a reference point once you've finished. Like, mine isn't quite finished, but it's in sections and there's lots of, like, you know, sort of stuff that I didn't really plan to put on there. Things about letting go and sort of more living in a greener space. And then also things about, on this side, around opening my chakras, embracing my female sensuality, friends and family, and all these other beautiful things are on there. So I'm sorry that you couldn't really see it. It's not a very easy prop to show, but doing a vision board is a great way for you to, like, throw away the rule book and put whatever you want on there, and you don't have to show anyone. It can be completely private, so you can put on, like, whatever weird, crazy stuff you want in your life on there. Like, you can see, like, I've got, like, you know, stuff around opening my lower chakras and working on that. I wouldn't necessarily have it up in my living room, but, you know, you can have it somewhere where you can just see it each day and take a little look at it, and you can see how you're progressing and whether you're able to take baby steps towards some of those things that you've put on that vision board. And who knows, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you might have that vision board in your spare room and you might just happen upon it and go back and look on it and think, wow, I have done so many of those things. I have become so many of those things that I put on that board. So it's a really fun exercise to do, and what have you got to lose? It's just a fun thing to do on a weekend or a free evening when you've got one. I hope this has helped. I know this is it's so personal to everyone. You might be loving your life on that traditional, successful route, and that's okay. And it's okay if you're actually feeling unsatisfied as well. There's no rights or wrongs. So please, I would love to see your vision boards. If you've already made a vision board or you're going to make one after watching this video, please share with me on social media. And leave me your comments below about, like, maybe some changes you've made in your life around big shifts or small changes that have put you on a road to what you feel like is success to you, and taking that road less travelled. So I will catch you next week for another video. If you do enjoy this video, it would be great if you could like, share with some people, or subscribe and press that little bell thing. So that you know when I post a new video. That would be really awesome. And I will see you next week for another video. Okay, and here's to a successful week for everyone. Cheers, bye.